So this is a 3-in-1 modular travel backpack. Now I was really excited to test this one out because there's a lot of innovative design choices, materials, bells and whistles that you don't see on a lot of other travel backpacks on the market. Now there's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it. What's up friends, I'm John and this is Unpack'd. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad to have you. On this channel I like to talk about different backpacks, slings, everyday carry items, and all sorts of different travel related gear. Now if you like videos like that, or if you find any value in today's video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe as that directly supports me. I appreciate it. So this awesome looking backpack I have for you today is the WayksOne Travel Backpack. Now Wakes is a German-based carry company and this is their flagship model right here. Now from my understanding, there's a brother-sister team who did a lot of traveling and couldn't find a backpack that really suited their needs, so they made one themselves. And here it is, their flagship model, the One Travel Backpack. So starting with the overall aesthetics of the bag, it is a roll top backpack, so that automatically gives it a very outdoorsy, a very hiker look. Now I'm somebody who appreciates that look because roll top backpacks are among my favorite, and this is another reason why I was so excited to test this one, because roll tops give you the ability to expand when needed and compress when needed, so it makes the bags overall very versatile. The trade-off is you get this very outdoorsy look, which some people don't really vibe with, don't really gel with. Now like I said, I'm kind of biased because I love a roll top backpack. I love that outdoorsy look and I love that hiker look for sure. Now this one has an extra splash of flair on it because it has this cube attached to the bottom here that gives it a lot of structure, so the bag stands very well on its own with or without the cube, and that's part of the modularity of this bag, which we're going to get into the modularity alone. But this cube does detach from the bag, but when it is attached it also makes it very tall and it gives it a very structured bottom, so again it gives it a very unique look. And I feel like you're either gonna like it or you either don't. That's kind of the situation with roll top bags. You really either do like them or you really don't like them. I've never really met a person in between that's like, yeah, I'm okay with roll top backpacks. It's, you know, it's usually people are on one side of the camp or the other. So with this being my very first Wakes product, I wasn't really sure what to expect from the quality, but the quality has been excellent. I usually give a bag an initial inspection after I unbox it. Everything seems sound, tight, no loose threads, no questionable stitching. Everything looks really good out of the box. Now this bag is constructed in Vietnam, even though Wakes is a German-based company, but Vietnam seems to be like the backpack capital of the world. Some of the highest quality bags are being produced in Vietnam, and this is kind of in line with my other Vietnam bags. You know, this CTB, this GR3, they're all Vietnam made and in great quality, and this is right there with the rest of them. So currently at the time of filming, this backpack is available in two different colors, sand and black. There's also another material variant, and that one's available in sleek black. So like I mentioned in the intro, this is a 3-in-1 backpack here. So the first setup that I have this bag configured in is the travel setup. Now I'm gonna throw the technical specs up on the screen. Please feel free to pause that and give it a better look, because this is a roll top backpack. It can expand all the way up to 45 liters and compress down to 25 liters. So there's a lot of different variables in those dimensions there, especially the height. So currently in the uncompressed travel setup, the way it is here, it stands at about 24 inches tall. So that's a very heavy travel backpack. And the other number stuck out to me was the overall weight. I had a weight listed at 5.3 pounds. When I weighed it on my own personal scale, it came out to 5.6 pounds. So pretty spot on from the factory measurements, but it's also, you know, not the lightest travel backpack on the market. So you factor in that 5.6 pounds and a base height of 24 inches. That's something to consider if you're a smaller person, a petite person, or shorter person. Very, you know, something to keep in mind if you're looking at this backpack, that in this travel setup, it can be very tall. So the primary material of this bag is a 91% recycled polyester. It has a canvas-like feeling, so it will pick up dust and dog hair. It will kind of cling to it, but you can easily wipe it off so it doesn't get stuck to it. You can clean it off with your hand most of the time, or a wet rag, and it can clean off the bag pretty easy. So I do like this material a lot. So that sleek black version is 100% recycled polyester, so it's a lot smoother, a lot silkier. So if you own a cat or dog and pet hair and dust and dander is a concern for you, you may want to consider looking at that version of the bag. Now getting into some of the external features of this backpack, one of the modularity aspects of this bag is of course the front. You have 4 loops of material webbing on the outside, and that's to attach Wakes's mat straps. There are bungee cord type material that you can put on the front of the pack so you can carry a jacket, a yoga mat, or anything on the external of the front of the backpack. On each side of the pack, you do have 2 internal water bottle pockets. They're pretty big. You can fit a wide variety of bottles on the inside here, and it reveals the polyester material on the inside, so it's a nice gray color, offsetting color, so you can find your gear a little bit better, so it's not black, it doesn't blend in with the bag. Again, so you have 2 pockets, 1 on each side that are identical. And this bag has a lot of nice little details to it. So one of the nice little details is that this backpack has zipper garages like that for all of the pockets there to give a little bit extra water resistance. Now, outside of those 2 bottle pockets, there isn't any more organization on the outside of the backpack. You do have the WAYKS logo in white on the front of the bag. I don't think it's a bad logo, but it would have been nice to see it like in a matte black or something to blend in with the bag. But having it in white is very prominent and sticks out. I know some people just don't like branding that loud on their pack. Like I said, I don't really mind it. It fits in very well. It's just a nice W embroidered into the material, but it is there on the front. So moving over to the back side of the pack, there's a lot more going on here. There's a lot more features, a lot more modularity going on. So let's get into the back panel, starting off first. So on the back panel, you do have this very, very chunky, dense back padding on the back. It's going to provide a lot of airflow, a lot of cushion for your bag. It's very dense, and you can feel these big pockets pushing against your back. Now, it didn't bother me by any means, but it felt more like somebody was back there massaging. I can feel them as I walk with the pack. I can feel them against my back. It's very comfortable, and it breathes very well because it's so thick. So you might notice right here in the center, this Velcro straps. Now this is for you to adjust your harness. You have all these adjustments from the top. I have mine set to the very top, but you can bring the pack all the way down to the bottom. Now WAYKS has a lot of great instructional videos on their YouTube channel showing you how to dial in the pack, because there is a lot of different aspects to dial in this harness. You do have load lifters, you have the adjustable, harness itself, plus you have the waist belt. So their instructional videos show you how to dial all that in. Now that's one thing you are gonna have to spend time doing. Now I've had this bag for 2 months, and I have it set up right here. It's actually the 3rd configuration as I work to see what didn't work for me and what would work for me. So currently the way I have it dialed in, I think this is optimal. But again, it took me 3 different tries in carrying this backpack many times over the last 2 months to figure out what was gonna work best for me. Now when it comes to the padding on the shoulder straps themselves, it is a good amount. It isn't as thick as what you'll find on the back panel, but it is a decent amount, and I had no issues carrying this pack even when it was fully loaded. I think it was a sufficient amount of padding. Now they are J-shaped straps, so they give a little bit of a curve, a little bit of an ergonomic feel to the bag. Now 2 more additional features on the back of this backpack are these side hidden like passport pocket there. So this is like a super small pocket, about the size of a passport. Now on the inside of this one, it is felt lined, very premium feeling on the inside. Now you have 1 pocket there, and then you also have the same size pocket up top, kind of where you would normally find like a quick access pocket on some other backpacks like a GoRuck GR1. But the thing to know about this side security pocket and this top pocket is that they're very flat, they're very small, and they're very thin. So at most, I think you can put your passport down in the one on the side and maybe a cell phone or something up top, but you're not gonna be able to fit like a pair of sunglasses or anything like that. You can fit them in there, but I wouldn't do it because of how flat it is and how very little room. I just feel that I would break my sunglasses if I were trying to put them in there. So for me, I just best kept these 2 security pockets best left to flat things like cash, passport, or a cell phone in a pinch. Like we mentioned, you do have load lifters up top, and every single strap on this backpack is gonna come with the web keeper to keep your dangle nice and organized so you're not all strappy and hanging loose. Now another small little detail that I wish every travel backpack maker would also consider is having a separated hook from your padded grab handle. So I have my padded grab handle here, then I have like a stow hook just up top. This little tiny stow hook makes it easier, so when you go to the bathroom at an airport, you can easily hang it on this little carry loop here. And of course, being a travel backpack, you have an adjustable and removable sternum strap. So down on the bottom, you do have the hip belt. It does have a pocket on each side of the hip belt, but they're pretty small. You're only gonna fit like maybe a snack or a pair of AirPods in there. You're not gonna be able to get your phone or sunglasses in there. A little too small, a little too tight. Now, another modular feature of this backpack is this entire back panel is removable. That's right, you can take these straps, this back panel, and everything off and go into like a light day mode. Let me demonstrate that for you now. You have to unhook the load lifters, unhook the straps down at the bottom, and to get this whole back panel out, there's 2 zippers on each side. You just unzip them on each side, and then you can actually pull out this entire back panel. And it pops out just like that. You can remove the back panel, load lifters, everything, the padding there. And it will transform this. Once you take the cube off, it'll transform into a day pack. It comes with some additional backpack straps that lack any padding or anything else, just to make it a nice little day pack. Now, for me personally, this is definitely a situation where the berry ain't worth the squeeze. It's a lot of hassle to get this back panel off, and you'll shed about £1 pound taking this off and switching it into day mode here. But you lose that padding, you lose that structure. And even if it is a day pack, I would prefer, I actually like the dense foam. I actually like it, it feels comfortable to me. So this was a feature that I never really used myself because, like I said, it wasn't really worth the squeeze going through all that hassle to take the back panel off to use it in day mode. I'd rather just keep the comfortable straps and the comfortable back panel no matter what I'm carrying on the inside of the pack. Now, another modular aspect of the backpack is these actual shoulder straps. Like, you can remove them all together to switch them out to the day straps, but also you can connect them down on the bottom of the cube itself. So if you wanted to change the angle of your straps, there's connection points down there as well. And of course, the hip belt. The hip belt, you can take it off of the cube and connect it straight to the pack itself. So again, there's a lot of ways to really dial in that comfort. It is gonna take some time to figure out what works for you, but if you invest the time, I think you're gonna end up with a really comfortable backpack. So continuing with the modular aspect of the bag, again, this is the first of the 3-in-1 modes. Let's get into the second mode. Now I'm gonna demonstrate for you in real time, no cuts, no panaways, no edits, what it would look like to take off the cube and attach the false bottom. So the cube is just simply attached by a zipper. So if I get to my destination and I'm ready to take the cube off, I just unzip it and it'll come right off. And the cube separates. So right underneath the cube is the bottom of the pack. And then to attach this, I just find the end where the zipper starts, which is right here, and reattach it. Again, in real time, no cuts, no edits, no editing magic. This is a real time what it will take to transform from the cube travel system to the day pack. And there it is. Now a much smaller, sleeker pack once you got this cube separated. So now we're looking at version 2 and 3 of the 3-in-1 system. So again, the 3-in-1 system is when these are 2 combined, you have the full travel mode. Once you separate them there, you have the day pack. And then now you have the cube. So let's talk about the cube before we get into the day pack here. Now this cube comes with its own strap, because you can use it as an individual cube itself. You can remove the hip belt, and it's actually pretty easy. I'll show you that as well right now, how easy it is to get that hip belt off. You just remove the hip belt, and now you have a standalone cube. Now what's in this cube, you may ask? It's a 7-liter cube. I'm gonna throw the tech specs for the cube right on the screen here. Take a look at that. On the inside of this cube, you do have 1 zipper pocket on the lid, but it's just a big empty cube. Now, more modular aspects of the pack, WAYKS does sell some camera cube inserts that you can put in here. So if you're somebody who carries cameras and lenses and all that, you can easily put them in this cube. Now this cube is heavily structured. It's nice and burly. I can pack this back out with all of my travel essentials. And when I have it on stacked on top, this cube ain't gonna give. It's gonna hold very well. It's gonna make the pack stand up extremely well on its own. So again, this is a very sturdy cube. Now this can be a standalone cube. Now let's say you're gonna go out on a trip and you just wanna take your camera. You can easily attach this adjustable padded shoulder strap to the cube. And now you've got yourself a camera cube with all your lenses and cameras and everything ready to go out for your photo session. Now, besides being used as a camera cube or a cosmetic or whatever you want to use it for, it also can be used as a cooler. Now, I personally didn't test it out in cooler mode, but I think that that's pretty awesome. Now, it does have some insulation properties. I don't know if you can throw like a bag of ice in here and a couple of beers. Now, it's only 7 liters, it's not that big, but you can definitely pack a couple of sandwiches if you're going to take this cube out on a picnic. But the website does say it does have some insulation properties there, so it will keep your stuff cold if you want to use it as a cooler. So there it is, your 3-in-1 travel system. Now once you got it separated, we're still got some more features to go over. Now if you want to undo the bottom of the backpack again, you can open it up and it reveals a shoe compartment. So this is your shoe compartment. You load a pair of shoes. You can load your dirty clothes down at the bottom. So again, this thing is feature rich and heavily packed with all sorts of different modular accessories and components to the bag. But yeah, you have a built-in shoe pouch, you have a built-in camera cube, you have a built-in expansion. Very versatile pack overall. Now that we have it separated from the cube, it gets into this day pack mode, which is a lot smaller at a base level of 25 liters. So just in case you're wondering, I have my personal item sizer box. Now at unexpanded, just base 25 liter mode, it will pass as a personal item on most airlines, mediumly packed out. So just in case you're taking a weekend trip, something quick, an overnighter, and you don't want to attach the cube because that's just too much room and you don't need it all, this should fit easily underneath your airline seat in case you wanted to travel personal item only. Now the biggest problem and pain point a lot of people like to point out about roll top backpacks is not being able to access their gear down at the bottom in a timely manner especially. Now WAYKS has solved that here by making my most favorite combination of features in a backpack. I've tested a lot of backpacks, but having a roll top expandability but full clamshell access in addition is my favorite combination of backpack. So that's what we have here. So this backpack is still full clamshell. So let's go ahead and get into the main compartment here. Now it does feature giant chunky number 10 YKK zippers. So opening the main compartment is super easy and super buttery. Name brand zippers, you're not gonna have a problem with any of the zippers, but this backpack opens up just like this, full clamshell, revealing the inside of this pack. So that eliminates the biggest pain point that most people have at roll tops, is being able to get your stuff down at the bottom. So again, being full clamshell, you can get full access to your gear and you still have that awesome expandability of the roll top. So the only organization on the inside of the backpack is going to be actually on the back panel itself. You're going to have 2 small zippered pockets there at the bottom, larger zippered pocket there, and then this zippered pocket is actually very large. It goes behind these 2 pockets there. So one thing to note, if you put bulky stuff in this top pocket and then stuff in the front, you can really cause this panel to bulk out, which is going to eat into the internal capacity of the pack, just like your water bottles. Loading your water bottle in here is just going to eat up room on the inside of your pack. Now on the back side of this, you have a document sleeve up top here, or a place to put your iPad, and then you have your laptop sleeve right there. Now this laptop sleeve will fit a 16-inch MacBook. So I don't have a 16-inch MacBook Pro. This is my wood mock-up of one, but you can load it right at the top and it'll fit easily down at the bottom there. Now it is a fully suspended laptop compartment, so no worries about putting this pack down and damaging your device. And it has this buckle here to kind of keep it in and keep it from coming out of the sleeve. Now you still do have external side access to the laptop compartment there, so you can see your MacBook right there. Here is the problem with this. This side opening here is only good for about a 14-inch device. So while you can fit a 16-inch up top, you're not going to be able to access it through the bottom. You're probably going to have to really finagle it to get it in or out. I don't even know if you can get the 16-inch out. But what I can tell you is I carried the 14-inch MacBook Pro in here, a 14-inch HP, and getting it in and out is kind of maxing out this pocket there. Now there is some nice detail here, like padding on the side to keep your device well protected, but that's kind of one of the downsides of this setup here, especially if you can carry a large machine. You can still carry it though, but you're gonna lose that side access for sure if you have anything larger than a 14-inch. Now with that 16-inch laptop loaded there, these small pockets and larger pocket up at the top are great places to put all your tech. You know, I have my MacBook charger, got my cable, got my UFO Anchor 3-in-1 that'll charge your AirPods, your watch, and your phone all at the same time. This is a great piece of travel tech right here. A 3-in-1 charger, kind of like this 3-in-1 system. Very versatile, very awesome. And of course you have some smaller pockets, like I mentioned earlier, over here where you can throw in some more power bricks, another cable. This is my Anchor 3-in-1 MagSafe charger. Again, very nice. These pockets are stretchy, so you can fit some bigger, bulkier gear in there as well. But like I mentioned, doing so is only going to eat into the main compartment there, so I can throw my last cable down in there. So that's pretty much the tech I travel with. You still have one additional pocket down at the bottom, but that's pretty much all I need. But you can see it's all stretchy pockets. It kind of bulges out, but it will fit most of, if not all, your electronics. So I typically don't use the shoe compartment, but it is a nice little feature to have if you want to carry an extra pair of shoes. Now I have my medium Peak Design packing cube, kind of like the GOAT of packing cubes here. Now I have 4 pairs of pants and 3 shirts packed in here. That's kind of what I would travel with for 7 days. I would mix and match my shirts and also throw in some laundry in there between. Now that medium packing cube fits down at the bottom, and up top I have room for my Gravel Slim toiletry kit. I love this, the Gravel products. I have them in 3 different sizes. I really like these toiletry kits. It fits down in the front there. And I recently got these Sony XM6s. I've recently converted, from using AirPods. I still use my AirPods, but for longer editing sessions and especially long international flights, noise canceling over the ear is just far more comfortable than having those AirPods, and the battery lasts a lot longer than AirPods. But anyway, that'll fit right at the top of there, and then we can go ahead and close this up here, and if I want to add more stuff, I can just unroll the roll top. Now for those of you keeping score at home, you may have noticed that I didn't load any socks or underwears in my backpack, because I would normally load those into this small Peak Design packing cube, but here I'm going to forego that packing cube and leave more room on the inside and kind of use the cube. That's what I'm going to use the cube as. I'm going to use that as my small packing cube for my socks and underwears. Now that we have everything loaded out in the main compartment in the cube, this is where I start to feel that the bag struggle a little bit once it's fully loaded, especially when it comes to the water bottle. Now it has 2 water bottle pockets, but they're both internal. Now I have my cube and my, everything in there that we packed. It makes this pocket extremely tight. Now you have some awesome stretch mesh there that'll accommodate up to a 1-liter Nalgene, no problem. My 26-ounce Yeti fits in there, no problem. But since the pack is extremely tight, I really have to force this bottle close, in there to try to get it to close. It is a hassle. I don't even know if I can get it to close. And then again, this is where we start to see the back struggle a little bit with that kind of design of the internal water bottle pocket. Now, this is where I'm super torn, because I love the sleek and clean look of the internal water bottle pocket, but once it's packed out, you lose that functionality. Now I'm used to traveling with bags that don't even have water bottle pockets. I have the GR1, the GR3, no water bottle pockets, so I have no issue traveling without access to a water bottle pocket. So this is exactly one of the situations where I would unroll the top and just toss in my bottle in the top. So these pockets are super tight. I kind of left them to my flatter gear. So I have my med kit. I can stick that in the pocket there. I have my small dental kit. It fits nice in that slim pocket there. Then on this other side, I kind of treating these pockets as like my quick access pocket. I can put my sunglasses. This is my Ikigai vitamin case there with my allergy meds and stuff that I like to keep, quicker access to when I'm on the go. And like we mentioned in the beginning, you have these 2 security pockets there. They're very small, very shallow. They're just going to be big enough to fit your passport on one and probably just a cell phone in another. especially with everything packed out in the main compartment. I'm not even quite sure that I would keep my cell phone in there, but it will fit your largest iPhone Pro Max into that pocket if you want to go through like security or something like that short term. Now when it comes to comfort, this is one of the shining stars of this backpack. I was a little concerned because the straps are a little narrow and they have a little bit less padding than what you will find on the back panel, but this back actually carried extremely well. You know, being expandable up to 45 liters, you can really load this backpack up. Now it does come with this hip belt. Wings of the hip belt only come up to about right here. I've got love handles. I've got a little bit of extra cushion on the side, a little extra cushion for the pushing, and I wanted this hip belt to come all the way around to the side, kind of like what I would find on the Alpaca Elements Travel Backpack. That's one of the most comfortable harnesses and hip belts that I've ever dealt with here. But when I put this hip belt on, I found that the weight didn't really distribute to, the part of the hip belt I needed to. I felt all the weight coming down on the actual nylon webbing on the side. That's where I felt that the wing should have come up all the way to the side and kind of support that weight. Since they're really short wings, it didn't support the weight like I wanted to, so I personally just took the hip belt off and I didn't even bring it. But like I mentioned, even without the hip belt, it still carries extremely well. Would have been nice if that hip belt could, distribute the weight properly. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I need to dial it in more, but I played around with it no matter what configuration I put it in. I really felt that it didn't distribute the weight in the places I needed to distribute it. So I just went shoulder straps only. So some final thoughts on the WayksOne Travel Backpack. I love all the bells and whistles. There's a lot of innovation and a lot of thought and a lot of little key touches on this backpack that make it a stellar travel backpack. The modularity of it, being able to have a day pack, having the cube so you can have your full travel setup, remove the cube, boom, you got your day pack. You can add your mat straps to the front. If you want to carry a jacket on the outside, you can fully expand the top. You still have full clamshell access. But the best part really of the whole modular system here is being able to dial in the harness system. Like I said, it's gonna take a little bit of time and you may have to dial it, 3 or 4 times. Like I said, this is my third iteration, my third setup. But being able to adjust the harness, being able to remove the harness if you don't want the harness altogether. Load lifters, you can change the positions of the straps. You can remove the hip belt from the cube up to the day pack. Just so many different ways and so many different modular aspects of the bag for you to really dial in and make it your own. Again, just adds to the overall comfort and the overall versatility of the backpack. And I kind of think that's what they were going for by making a modular system and making it kind of a one-stop shop for all your needs and for different travel situations. Now, what I liked all those features, one area I felt the bag really struggled with is lack of quick access. Now, I didn't travel with the hip belt, so I lost the functionality of these 2 little pockets there. So if you travel with like AirPods, let's just say, that would be a great place to carry your AirPods right there. But I didn't feel the hip belt supported me the way I needed to be supported. So I just think, I just got rid of it. I didn't need it. It's less dangle, less weight on the pack, and the shoulder straps were plenty good enough to carry the weight of the backpack. But because that hip belt was gone, I lost the pockets. So anytime I needed to grab anything from my backpack, I would have to fully take it off. Of course, you could swing the bag over to your side if you want to access the side pockets there. But again, when you've got a fully loaded 1-bag travel setup for an entire week, this is a heavy pack. This is not something that I'm really swinging around to the side. I had to take the pack off every time I wanted to get to my water bottle. Had to take the pack off when I wanted to grab my sunglasses. So I think this bag really could have benefited from some more external gear loops. Maybe some loops on the front of the shoulder strap so I can hang my sunglasses, or even, clip other gear like my AirPods to the front, maybe some gear loops on the side, maybe even a meshy stretch pocket on the front, just meshy stretch pockets on the outside so I can keep my water bottle on the outside. So overall, I think it's a really cool system, especially if you're into 1-bagging, if you want to get into 1-bagging, or if you're even an experienced 1-bag traveler. Because of the versatility and the modular aspect of this backpack, this can really kickstart your 1-bag setup, or really dial in if you're somebody who's already experienced with 1-bag traveling. And if you want to know any more about this WayksOne Travel Backpack, please ask your questions down in the comments below. I respond to every single one. My goal is to help you find the right backpack for you. So there's a lot of things going on here, so I hope you have some questions about this one. If you made it this far in this video, I want to say thank you so much for sticking around. I want to give a special thanks to Wakes for sending this backpack out for me to test and review. This is such a cool one, and I haven't tested a really cool travel backpack in a while. So I was super excited to get my hands on this one. So a special shout out to Wakes. Thank you so much. But of course, like always, I cannot wait to see you on the next one.